popular narrative in our culture today is that science is in conflict with the Christian faith, that scientific advances have rendered the creation accounts unbelievable. For example, there are some people who believe that the Bible teaches that the earth is only 6,000 years old, and of course this would be in conflict with the age of the earth measured to be 4.5 billion years old from a scientific perspective. But is this really the case? Is Christianity and science in conflict? I'm joined today by Dr. Ken Keithley, who is a professor of theology at Southeastern Baptist Theological Seminary in Wake Forest, to help answer that question. Ken,
yes.
What do evangelical and conservative Christians actually believe about the age of the earth?
Well, we have to admit that there has been, in the last few decades, or the last 30 or 40 years, significant inroads made by the young earth community. However, historically speaking, evangelicals have held to something other than the young earth view. They've held to an old earth. In fact, when one reads the fundamentals, in which the term fundamentalist comes from, not a single author argues for a young earth position, and in fact, they argue several for other positions, some even further than you and I might be comfortable. So what one finds throughout the better part of the 20th century, that fundamentalists and evangelicals held to some version of an old earth creationism, either the gap theory or a day-age theory. As a matter of fact, the most popular study Bible of the 20th century is the Scofield Study Bible. And yet when one looks at the Scofield notes, it teaches the gap theory. And in fact, when there was a very famous debate between Harry Rimmer, who was a well-known apologist of the early part of the 20th century, and W.B. Riley, who was the president of the World Fundamentalist Organization, they had a debate over the proper way to interpret Genesis 1. Neither one of them argued for the young earth position. One argued day-age, the other one gap theory. It isn't until 1961, with Henry Morris's and John Whitcomb's book, The Genesis Flood, that we see a move towards young earth creationism. One of the unfortunate things that is taught by many young earth advocates is that this is the evangelical position and it is the historical position, but the facts just simply don't match up to that.
Now, how would one interpret Genesis 1 then if day isn't 24 hours?
Yeah, well, there's a number of ways that we've gone about it. There are those who do understand it to be a 24-hour, a period in which God operates, but it's called the intermittent day. There are long periods of time between each one. As we know, the word day is used in a variety of ways in Genesis chapters 1 and 2, at least 3 different ways. And when we take a look at the way each day of creation is presented, and God does such and such, and it says, and evening and morning, day 1. And then God does this and that, evening and morning, day 2. Well, if you think about it for a second, evening and morning, that's not a 24-hour day. It's not even the daytime. It's nighttime, as Jack Collins has pointed out. That's the evening when God knocks off for the day. And so it's presenting God as a workman doing his work. And so the best way, I think, to understand the days is as analogical work days. The very instrument that is used to calculate a 24-hour day is not in existence until the 4th day. So whatever the first 3 days are, they're not being, like I said, ordained or ordered by the sun and the moon, which are the instruments that order the days and the seasons. So we have ample evidence in the text itself, which was noticed not just in the last 50 years, but by the early church fathers, Augustine and others, that this is not talking about a typical 24-hour day period.